What's up, y'all? It's your boy eBay Predictions, and we got some breaking news. This is gonna be a little quick 5 minute video, but I want to talk about the fight announcement of Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling. That's gonna be on the December 12th card. That will be the co-main event of that card. This is, an awesome matchup. Let's give a hooray to Aljamain Sterling for getting his title shot. A guy that I thought probably deserved his title shot after he beat Pedro Munoz. Pedro Munoz at the time had beat Cody Garbrandt and had just this really inflated ranking, and I thought it made sense. Before that, he had beat Jimmy Rivera and Cody Stamann, so I was kind of interested why he wasn't getting a title shot. Then he fights Corey Sandhagen, and then I'm like, he has to be the title contender, right? And then that kind of doesn't really go through. Then there's a weird situation where they have Corey Sandhagen versus Marlon, and then there's talks. Like, Petr Yan was talking about it that, if Marlon gets the W over Corey, he might get the title shot. He might jump over Aljamain, and that's the truth of the situation. Marlon did knock out Aljamain Sterling, so I kind of understand where the UFC is coming from, and I guess the fear about booking this fight with Aljamain and Petr Yan is that it's going to potentially be a boring fight. I just don't see why some people think this is going to be a boring fight. I think this is going to be a beating. I think we're going to see a lot of takedowns and a lot of clinch attempts from Aljamain. But at the same time, I just really do think Petr Yan's ability to get him off the fence and, apply that pressure, it's going to be a beating. I think even if this gets to the ground, I think it's going to be entertaining. These guys are young. No, not young, but these guys are, bantamweights. They go fast and they have great fights. I know some people say the Aljamain Sterling fight with Jimmy Rivera was boring. I don't think it's boring. For me, it's a little different, man. I watched the prelims from the whole show, so I kind of have a ability to watch kind of boring stuff. Even in my wrestling days, you get to the wrestling tournament at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then you leave like 8 o'clock at night, and through that time you're gonna watch a lot of boring matches. So for me, I'm able to watch that kind of stuff better than few others. But with this matchup, I don't think it's gonna be boring at all. I don't think we're, you know, like I know some people hated the Curtis Blaze versus Volkov fight. I don't think this is gonna be like that. I didn't have a problem with that fight, but I know some people did. I really do think this fight's gonna be really great. I think there's gonna be a lot of great grappling transitions. I think Yan, I think he went. I forgot where he went, but I wouldn't say it might have been Dagestan to go work on his wrestling and stuff like that. So I think Yan is going to be well equipped to deal with Aljamain's takedowns. Even against what's it called, Jimmy Rivera. Jimmy Rivera is a decent high school wrestler, right? But he was able to deal with his takedowns. So I think this is going to be really intriguing. But I will give something to Aljamain, man. He really held Jimmy Rivera to the fence for as long as he wanted and was just stronger. Like, this is the thing about Aljamain. Aljamain is really strong. You can just see it on him. So it's an interesting matchup. It's going to be probably Petr Yan's. Would I say it's his highest level at the weight class? I respect Jose Aldo, but I think Aljamain Sterling is going to be his highest level of competition that he's faced. I think it's going to be really interesting. But yeah, and there's also another thing. How does Aljamain react to Jan's boxing? We've known in Aljamain's career that he doesn't, prior in his career, he said this himself in his own podcast, that he doesn't do well with dealing damage and punches. He doesn't like to get hit. You shouldn't like to get hit, but fighters, they have, they accept it most of the time. But yeah, even in the when Aljamain fought Assunção, really what won Assunção that fight was throwing the overhand in like the third or second round, and he just was hurting Aljamain. It just seemed like Aljamain didn't want to engage in fighting with Assunção. So I think you look at that fight, you got to look at a lot of fights. And for me, when, dissecting this fight for my prediction, I haven't made my full prediction, but y'all know who I'm leaning towards. The GOAT, Petr Yan. That guy, he's in my top 10 right now in terms of favorite fighters to watch, man. I wouldn't say he's in my top 5, but, man, he's creeping up there. He's becoming, like, I just love this kid. He's just a freaking badass. But, yeah, I'm leaning towards Yan. But, it's you got to look at the tape. You got to watch the tape. There's still a lot of fights I gotta watch from Yan, and just to see if there's any grapplers he's ever dealt with and how he deals with that kind of pressure. And same thing with Aljamain. There's still a lot of fights I gotta rewatch. I gotta rewatch that Pedro Munoz fight. So to dissect this, but yeah, man, this is a great fight. I'm happy for Aljamain. I'm happy for the UFC. I think it's 256 that got the the title fight. So good. I'm happy for that card because I think they had the main event of Megan Anderson versus Amanda Nunes. I know a lot of people aren't happy about that, but it is what it is. That's what happens when you have a dominant champion. But we have a great co-main event. Hope you guys enjoy this. This is it for Braca News. You already know what it is. Go follow my Twitter. Go follow my Instagram. And eBay Predictions is out. I love y'all and goodbye.